And that brings us to our last presentation for the 2018 conference. And Barbara Bray will give us our final presentation. Barbara is a food safety and nutrition consultant working with many food industry clients. She also tells us that she enjoys open water swimming, a hobby that she was introduced to by Matt Swain. Her topic and study tour is vegetable production for specific nutritional need, and she's very interested in how the food system can be changed to provide nutrition-smart agriculture. Her scholarship is sponsored by the Food Chain Scholarship Fund. Barbara.
Imagine you're at the doctor's surgery waiting for your blood test results. And she starts the consultation with the words, "I don't want to worry you." Well, that was me last July, after several weeks of travel for GFP, coming home feeling unwell and finding out that I was pre-diabetic at risk of type 2 diabetes. It was a shock, but it shouldn't have been a surprise. Type 2 diabetes is the single biggest cause of death on both sides of my family. Genetically, the odds are stacked against me. But it's the food environment I'm in that shapes my choices. Having said that, with a sort of lifestyle of Prosecco parties and with being on first-name terms with the staff of Salford's restaurants, it was never going to end well. I had an international trip to plan across to Asia, Australia, so I had to get on with it. No time for self-pity. But I needn't have worried, because as I travelled to Hong Kong and Shanghai and throughout South Korea and onwards, I saw that healthy food packed full of vegetables was available at every meal occasion. So, thinking about where I was going and what I was doing, we all know that vegetables are good for us, and today I'm going to talk to you about the nutritional quality of our diet and introduce the concept of nutrition-smart agriculture, which benefits our health. But we all know that vegetables are good for us, right? Public Health England have given us the Eatwell guide, and we have the recommendation to have 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. But in the UK, 30% of us are overweight and 30% of us are obese. Yet despite eating all of this extra food, we are still not well nourished. Our diet is low in fibre, and we're not getting the optimum amount of vitamins and minerals. This slide shows that over time, since the turn of the century, our consumption of fruit and vegetables hasn't really changed. If I was to take a line from over here at 0% to here at 100%, where would I need to stand to represent the percentage of people who know the recommendation to eat 5 portions of fruit and veg a day? I'm going to walk back to 50, and you, the audience, tell me whether I go higher or lower. Higher. Higher, yes. Did I say that was something? Yeah. 90% of people. And where would I need to stand to represent the percentage of people who actually eat 5 portions of fruit and veg a day? Lower, exactly, around 30%. Generic public health messages aren't working, and people are increasingly turning to personalised nutrition to deliver solutions for their needs. And if the vegetable and horticulture sector is not more proactive, then the industry on processed animal protein will grow, animal protein substitutes will grow at the expense of whole and prepared vegetables, which provide us with the important nutrients, minerals, and vitamins. So, you can only imagine my joy at being awarded a Nuffield Farming Scholarship and finding out that I'd have 18 months to study something I was incredibly passionate about. Vegetables. Clearly not a shared passion in the audience. But I used my Nuffield Farming Scholarship as a call to action to look at how bringing farming, food manufacture and health together could solve a problem for a very specific population group. We take food for granted, but for the sick, this is not an option. Ray is a lucky man. He told me that he can eat what he likes when he likes. But for many years before he had his kidney transplant, he had to manage his diet with a list of foods low in potassium and phosphorus. Picture the scene. Your family is having fish and chips for dinner. The smell of the freshly fried fish in batter and salted chips hangs in the air, whetting your appetite as you, the kidney patient, look on, pushing your low potassium pasta round the bowl. There are 4 million people in the UK, just like Ray was, unable to access convenience food because we don't put potassium levels on the nutrition label. Simple supermarket solutions like prepared mashed potato, prepared tomato soup are out of reach. And this shouldn't be the case because we have the technology to measure potassium in our crops and in our manufactured foods. Deepa, a senior renal dietitian at King's College London, told me that kidney patients don't want to have to cook all of their meals from scratch. If they could go to a supermarket, pick something and eat it, it would make their lives so much easier. For me, the solution lies in an integrated food system with a person-centred approach. And I set out to look for examples of multidisciplinary working that result in a nutrition-smart outcome. Nutrition-smart agriculture has two key objectives. One, to improve human nutritional status, but it also has to achieve farm and agribusiness productivity and profitability. But before I tell you about what I found, I'd like to hear from you, the audience, again. So, raise your hand if you enjoy your food. Great. I saw you all doing it yesterday, so I knew it was a gift. And keep your hands raised if you make your food choices based on taste. Yeah, okay, cool. And keep your hands raised if you make your food choices based on convenience. Oh, a few more, okay. And then keep your hands raised if you make your food choices based on the nutritional recommendations of Public Health England. Ignore my mother, she wasn't well briefed. This explains my point, really, that as food producers, we need to be mindful that food choice is a complex thing. And when we're thinking about communicating with consumers, we have to bear all these different things in mind. So, where would you go to look and see where food, farming, and health is done very well? I went across to Australia and New Zealand. I met with the people behind the brand Vital Vegetables. It's comprised of stakeholders in Australia and New Zealand and is comprised of growers, breeders, government plant scientists, nutritionists, consumer researchers. The products are prepared vegetables and salads which support immune health, bone health, eye health and heart health. They carry approved government health messages with key simple messages for the consumer. Then there was the brand Zespri, the international kiwi fruit people. They control the breeding, the growing, the consumer research and nutrition research. High quality and the strapline, making life taste better, is the key focus. But they also have a health claim for digestion on kiwi fruit. Then we have Love Beets, the brand behind G's Fresh, the British company with markets in Australia and New Zealand. G's control the breeding, the growing, nutritional research and consumer research. The products are conveniently sized beetroot and beetroot juice, but they also have looked at research on how beetroot juice benefits blood pressure, and they actively market to the sports health community. The things that these brands all have in common is that they use multidisciplinary working to create a targeted meal solution for the consumer that has a health benefit. But multidisciplinary working can also be used to help consumers with problems. Remember Ray, I talked about who'd had chronic kidney disease? Well, together with him, the University of Reading, and the Lincolnshire-based potato growers A.H. Worth, we took samples of raw and cooked potato and analysed the amount of potassium levels to see if we could get a product that was suitable for people with chronic kidney disease to eat. The research proved that the concept works and could have commercial benefit. But the research is the first step. The next step is to get manufacturers to validate those potassium levels, then to get the retail sector to publish that information on their websites and on back of pack. If successful, this would be a great way of bringing research, farming, food manufacture and health together. The separation of these disciplines has gone on too long, and it's time to change if we want to have a suitable food system that's healthy for our future. I am going to be committing to making my business to bring all these things together, so farming, food manufacture and health. But I'd like you to ask yourselves this question. Is your business working in a multidisciplinary way? That's a theme that we've heard throughout the course of today. And is the food that you produce nutrition smart? So I'll leave you with this final quote from Dan Barber, who's a farmer, chef, and author of the book, The Third Plate. He says that the greatest lesson came with the realization that good food cannot be reduced to single ingredients. It requires a web of relationships to support it. I would like to thank you for listening, and I'd like to thank my sponsors, the Food Chain and the Nuffield Farming Trust, for all their time, effort and resource that went into helping me, and several other people too numerous to mention. Thank you.